Security Hub Podcast. Let's go.
You're dealing with an expert in guerrilla warfare. With a man who's the best. With guns, with knives, with his bare hands. A man who's been trained to ignore pain, ignore weather, to live off the land. Job was to dispose of enemy personnel. To kill. Period. Win by attrition.
All right. Awesome. Welcome back to another great Security Hub Podcast. As always, I am your host, Donnie, and today I am recording from Utah, from Range Valley Ranch. Some good friends. Gentlemen, introduce yourself, please.
I'm Brandon Andrews. I'm from Seattle, Washington, and former Navy SEAL. Got out in 2014. Right now, I run a fencing business in Seattle.
Hi, everyone. My name is Damone. I'm from formerly at 7th Group, combat diver, Green Beret.
Oh, yeah. So we're all part of this awesome experience here at Range Valley Ranch. It's put on by Best Defense Foundation, which is the brainchild of Mike Siaperas. I always mess it up. I am sorry, Mike. And Donnie Edwards, an amazing football player turned nonprofit leader. And what they're doing is nothing short of amazing. They're bringing together soft professionals and NFL players that have transitioned, because as we know, transition is the hardest thing to freaking do. Like, we always tend to think that soft professionals can go out into the world and do whatever they want, whatever the nation asks of them, and then they'll do everything expertly and with precision. But the one thing we can't do is handle that last little bit, which is a transition. Like, when we finally hit the brick wall, or even when we retire, it's still a process. And what the Best Defense Foundation is doing is nothing short than working miracles, because they're bringing guys like us and NFL players together to break bread, bond, and then get these awesome classes from medical professionals, nutritionists, integrative practitioners. But then we're also doing amazing things like going off and shooting 3-gun competitions, shooting skeet, archery. I mean, guys, we've done a lot this week.
Driving giant bulldozers. Yeah, basically being back in the sandbox playing Tonka, but man style, with giant freaking bulldozers. Oh, this has been a legendary experience. Yeah.
And then we really have to hand it over to, give a lot of thanks and a big shout out to Mike. This man is nothing short of just a passionate patriot who wants to do everything he can to ensure that our soft professionals make that next step into their chapter 2 with support and an understanding that their nation is grateful for what they've done. I mean, one of the coolest things we've done out here is Mike's got a lot of property out here on the mountain in Utah. And gentlemen, I mean, what was that flag raising ceremony like up on the mountain?
It was absolutely just amazing. I've never seen a flag that big in my life, but just to be a part of that, where you had both NFL players, Navy SEALs, and Green Berets just come together and be a part of something great. So just the process of putting the flag up, but also I think it was important to step back and then just give respect to the flag as a group, and then just paying homage to it, and then just to stand back and look at it wave is just beautiful at 10,000 feet.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't there for that, but I did hear that it's one of the highest flying American flags in the entire United States of America. And I think that, getting to know Mike a little bit, that summarizes this guy. He's letting us use a place where, we were talking about the other day, we wouldn't be able to be here if we didn't do what we did for the country, but he just wants to show his love for us because he's a man who loves America. Yeah. And just thankful for the opportunity.
Dude, I don't, if you haven't met Mike, if you don't know who he is, and certainly I didn't know him before I came out here, but it's like meeting a real live Tony Stark. It's somebody that's passionate and just smart, just a brainiac, but at the same time, he's one of us. That's the crazy thing. Mike is literally one of us. In an alternate universe, Mike would not have ventured into, being of service and building, a business and continuing to grow and prosper and help others in industrial endeavors. No, he would have gone into an SF team or become a SEAL.
Yeah. But as smart as he is,
sorry, Mike.
As smart as he is, he's taken feedback all week long. He's asked for feedback from us. And that's been remarkable just to see his leadership, and his heart for wanting to do things right and build something great. So that's been amazing.
Dude, the other thing is that other half of the equation of Best Defense, Donnie Edwards. Growing up, you watch these guys play football, do amazing things for the sport, for all of us. We all enjoy it. We've all participated in cheering on our teams, but then getting to meet this gentleman, getting to meet this larger than life personality, and seeing how humble, like there's never been a moment in this event, this awesome weekend or week getaway where Donnie doesn't make time to get to know you, to sit down and learn more about what you're going through.
It was strange at first, because these guys one of them has a Super Bowl ring, and it's polarizing because you're like, high five, and they're like praising us for what especially Donnie. Donnie's just such a humble dude, and he's another man that just loves his country and wants to give back because he feels, he said the other day, he said, I am the definition of the American story, he went, I know he hasn't shared his story yet. His story's wild. I'm familiar with it. And, to be around these guys and then to bond with them and then to have them praising us, we're like, what are you talking about, man? Like, tell me what your life is like. And, but they're truly just some of the most like kind individuals that I've ever met.
How we got this opportunity is also like amazing too, because it's truly built by soft professionals for soft professionals. Like being able to get that phone call from, for me, it was from Flo, like our SOCOM Care Coalition advocate from 7th Group, somebody that's plugged into the network that's reaching out, which is something that, Flo's a very humble guy. He doesn't talk about what he does and all the work that he does, but a huge shout out to Flo. We wouldn't be here without our SEAL brothers, our Ranger brothers, our Green Beret brothers that are out here, working in a nonprofit space and then reaching back and saying like, hey, I think this could be a good opportunity for you. Like,
yeah, for me, one of the guys that works out here is part of the SEAL Future Foundation.
Yeah.
And this is probably the 4th retreat that I've been on. And I was going through a dark time, man, to be honest with you. And Justin Hoagland is the guy that reached out to me. Hoagie. Everyone knows him as Hoagie. His professional name is Hoagie. I'm pretty sure his wife, his kids, and his grandma calls him Hoagie. Actually, I don't think they do call him Justin, but no, he reached out to me. And, the thing about that foundation is I didn't reach out to them other than the first time, and they've continuously reaching out. And so if you're a veteran out there, I'm sure you are if you listen to this guy's stuff, and you get a chance to go to one of these retreats, it's like being back with the guys who, being a part of the Warriors, a part of us.
Yeah.
And that's what that foundation has done for me. And they bring me a place like this. And I'm just eternally grateful to the SEAL Future Foundation and to Hoagie, everything that he does what these guys do.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, talk about your experience. What was it like getting connected to this?
Yeah, I mean, I'm still trying to put it into words. Today is day 3, but one, it's just amazing to be back with brothers, to make new acquaintances and just immediately fall in love and just in the respect and the
there goes one of those NFL ladies right there.
just fall in love with the being back on a team, being back with like-minded people. Yeah. So I feel empowered, right? I think from all the activities, but mainly the conversations that we've had, we've been able to just refresh from the ice bath to the sauna. But really what has been helpful to me is just to sit around and allow everyone to tell their story, and not just tell it, but then to get feedback and just be reminded that we're not alone. So it's been amazing. It's been amazing.
Yeah. Those morning cold tub sessions and sauna sessions, like those are great. But like the thing that makes it so much better is all of us could be doing this at home. All of us could be going to a gym, doing the hot sauna thing, but doing it here amongst brothers with other people that are seeking to find new alternative ways to heal. That's more powerful. Yeah. Like you're able to see the impact that something as small as a 2-minute soak in an ice will do for you.
And on that, and you hit on the head, man. That's what it's all about. And I was thinking about this because we talked about this last night about how one of the most special things is to be out here with you guys. And I realized I'm like, that's what I have such big takeaways from that. But we talk about how soft, we kind of only trust other soft. And like you said, as soon as I met you guys, best friends for life, friends for life. That's it. But when we sit around and you get to bond and talk, like last night, what you said, man, and what Chavo is saying, some of these guys are saying to us, I realized it's while we're bonding, we're sharing our coping mechanisms, our healthy ones, and our strategies, prayer, reading, and all this stuff. And I realized that those are the things that I take home. I learned from how you're winning. where I'm losing, and I'm able to bring that back. So while it is just being with the boys, and it feels so refreshing to be able to be proud of my combat experience and what we've done and be able to talk about it with other guys who've been there, done that, and just joke around. It's the moments at night and later where we're sitting there talking about broken marriages and relationships and stuff, and hearing how you guys handle things, because there's that mutual trust. That to me is like the most special thing. It's just that, guys. But, you know, we also got to go see those archaeological sites today, the freaking hieroglyphics. The experience for me too has just been legendary, man. It's hard to put into words everything because it's been so much, you know, so like processing.
Denny, I'm sorry. In the airport, I just remembered as you were talking, we showed up in the airport and there was this couple that were sitting kind of beside us while we were eating. And they just, before they left, they walked up to us and said, I'm sorry, we just have to know, like, there's so much camaraderie with you guys. Who are you? Like, we have to know what's going on. And we just said, hey, we're veterans, blah, blah, blah. And they just were amazed. But that comment from that lady showed me that what we displayed in that 30-minute lunch is something that very few people have in America, you know, and we get to experience that. So
absolutely. Dude, that we never served together. None of us have ever, except for a few of the guys, but it's been years, right?
Right.
But the fact that Navy SEALs can come together, Green Berets can come together, NFL players can come together and have like an instant bond where it's like, dude, like we're cut from the same cloth.
I met Chemo. We picked him up from the airport. I met him at the airport, and I don't think I've laughed harder and told more personal stories to anyone in my life. And we are dying laughing, telling stories about what it was like in the teams, and he's telling us stories about what it's like in the NFL. And Hoagie's doing Hoagie thing. He's teaching us and telling stories. And you know, we're up in the mountains. We're in the middle of nowhere. We pull over. We jump out. We're all like in the woods, and there's like nothing out here. Going to the bathroom, and Chemo's like, are there bears out here? And we're all just like, oh no. Like it was just such a fun atmosphere. And it's amazing how quickly that instant bond is connected. And you guys giving us trash for being Navy SEALs and us saying nothing because we're the winners. You know, like that's been like so much fun for me. No, not at all. You guys have actually way more combat experience than I do in this group for sure. So, I mean, it was the mutual respect, the admiration, the bonding, the friendships that'll last a lifetime. Wow. You know, I mean, they really know how to put a great group together. Yeah. You know, and it's been consistent in all my experiences with this foundation, with Hoagie's other foundation, the SEAL Future Foundation. And I'm not going to stop going to these retreats because for me in Seattle, I'm all up there alone. And this is like my chance to like go back to something that is and always will be a part of me. Yeah. You know, we're warriors and that's who we are.
Absolutely, man. And to go off that, like we can feel so isolated and so alone, but here's the beauty of it. Like the things that we're learning here and the things that others are reiterating and sharing from their journeys just reinforce that the answers to our community are going to come from us.
Yeah.
Like, and we prove that concept by sitting around the fire every night and sharing like, you know, I really wanted to punch that guy when he did this. And like, hey man, there's repercussions. There's every action is equal positive reaction. Yep. I'm like, hey, maybe you want to do that, but take a few moments and let that anger dissipate. Yeah. Everybody has a lesson to pass off to everybody. Even the individual that might feel like they're the most vulnerable, the most weak. It's like, dude, we're all the same. We've all struggled. Like transition is not a clear-cut process for anyone. Yeah. From the highest serving officer to the lowest enlisted individual. Yeah. We're all going to go through that and feel like, I'm alone. No one loves me. No one cares about me. Yeah. The team's gone. I'm all alone. But we've proven like, even if we're separated, once we do events like this, we can reach out to each other and be like, dude, you remember like doing the walks up here on those inclines? You remember friggin' Flo almost falling out? Like, do you remember Marty every day, like cheering us on with the freaking beautiful, like sermon? Like these are things that will last and will allow us to reconnect. Like, we may not have gotten the chance to serve with each other, but now after this experience, we have this common bond that we can revisit every single time if we just continue to reach out. Because like what we learned today, like peer-to-peer support is a viable thing.
Yeah. And it's a therapy in itself. You know, it's therapy in itself. I think that's the instant connection. Yeah. You know, like I look in your eyes and I'm like, warrior. Warrior. What's up, guys? You want to get away from the crowd and go talk so they can hear us. Dude, but it's so like you said, man, it's the camaraderie. Yeah. I think that's the biggest thing I come away from these things with. And while we're joking around, I'm learning ways to handle my stress, ways to be a better dad to my kids, ways to teach my son to be a good man, but I want my son to be a hard man. In a society where I don't really think we're raising a lot of men, I want to raise a man. But that's also like we were talking about the other night. You can't just hit people who are being, inappropriate in public or smashing into an arm. That's not how you teach your kid. And it's just got a lot of knowledge last night. Chavo talked to me about how he tells his kids to, pray. I've done breathing exercises with my kids, which I learned the breathing exercises at these retreats from Hoagie, who's a breathing expert. The strategies that I come out of here with, I've always seen that these retreats, and this one I can tell you, man, because I've been talking. I've got a year-long plan now from this retreat. I've got some big wins from this one. A lot of thanks to you, brother. But I find that every part of my life, from professional to fatherhood to financial to dealing with stress, my relationship with God, it all marginally improves or significantly improves in every way from these experiences. And I really think that comes from just the camaraderie, the bond, and then also knowing that I'm not in this alone.
Yeah.
Like we're all dealing with the same stuff. So
one of the takeaways that I think we all came around away with yesterday was that, speaking of transition, was that what made us successful, being in that 1% of the SEALs or the Green Berets, was that we take those lessons. So we have to really think back into what was it that made us great? What made us good at our jobs? What made us successful? And we don't just hang that up when we retire, when we're done. We keep those things and we use those to transition into the next phase.
Right.
And so I think we challenge ourselves. You said do things hard, do something hard every day, but we don't just randomly do things hard. We take those strategies that we've learned to be successful, and then I think it seems easily to accomplish because we take those lessons that we've already had.
Yeah, right.
Absolutely, man. And I wouldn't do it justice if I didn't highlight like some of the personal, like, because people will say like, you can't have personal growth in such short amount of time. And I say bullshit, like, especially for our demographic.
Man.
Like,
I agree. You can change like that. You want to change your life, change your mind.
You can. And that's something that I'm seeing, because everybody has had a moment in this where they're like, hey, wait a second, that makes more sense to me for a better way of living than what I've been doing with this. Like, this makes more sense. And like the ability to build this, like, and you said it the other day, like finding mentorship, like this literally is micro mentorship. As at one moment or another in this entire week, we've all experienced a moment where we're reaching out to a brother for more information on one thing, or like, wow, that's a different way of looking at it.
Yeah.
Like, especially like at night, like a lot of us are doubling up and you're sitting here talking and it's like, man, like I'm about to be a dad and I don't have any experience. I'm a beginner at this, but I'm hearing guys talk about fatherhood and how to be better. Like this entire morning, this whole breakfast period today, I was just listening to guys talking about how they raised their boys, to be good men, honest people, good, hardworking individuals. And you don't get that when you stay at home and you stay plugged in and you just focus at work. Like, if you want to be better, you have to be willing, like, look, I get it. This is a very, very, very unique experience and we are blessed to be here, but you can still have this at home. Just be willing to plug in with your friends and connect and be able to revisit what they're doing in their lives. Like, I think all of us said at one point, like, I disconnected from my buddies. I haven't talked to my friends in a long time. We get so busy, or we just think that, you know what, maybe they don't want to hear from us.
Yeah.
We lie to ourselves and say that, because I've never experienced that when you finally do connect with them. Yes. And I'm personally always happy to hear their voices too. But I think you just let life take control and you imagine he must be as busy as me. I'm sure he's doing good. I'll throw a prayer out there for him, but I'm not going to give him a call. And, man, it bears being said, getting us all together and stuff and that connection. And then the relationships, I think that I hate to say this, but that's like the one part that we haven't really figured out is the follow through to keep us connected. Yeah, and I know a lot of nonprofits are working on that, trying to figure out ways to get guys plugged in, but most of us we're not used to social media. We're learning how to do it now because it's important, but we don't do a lot of that stuff. We don't do a lot of like staying in contact, and we don't have to, because I could not see you for 10 years. And I will be as pumped to see you in 10 years as I am today to see you. Yeah. That's team guys, though. I was just talking about this yesterday, how the relationship management's a little different. But I always find that when we leave these places, we stay in touch with the people that we make good connections with. and we were doing projects and stuff together, and sometimes that dies away, but the relationship remains, even if we're not communicating.
And like, even for me, in my experience, I realized the importance of, like, it's so easy to get that narrow focus on what you're doing. Like, oh man, like I'm moving, I'm going to this, I'm starting this new, and then you're not focused on all the other people that have been there for you. So it's like, swallow your pride. Like, if you think people don't love you, people aren't there for you, maybe you have to revisit, have I been reaching out? Have I been reconnecting? But the thing is, it's like, it puts it right in front of you when you're sitting here connecting. You're like, wow, this pours back into me.
Yeah.
And then you realize, like, hey man, other people have lives too. Have you been checking in on your friends?
Yeah.
Have you been calling Mike? Have you been texting Mike, Greg, Paul, all these people that have been there for you? Have you been doing it? It's like, oh, you know what? Like, I only sent a meme. I only sent Tim a message the other day. Like, and you get so busy doing work, doing school, make time, write it out in the calendar. Like, and life happens. So give yourself some grace at the same time. Give yourself the ability to say, hey man, like, I've been working nonstop. I've been helping other people. In your case, like, you're emotionally available to so many people. And like, as a chaplain, Damone, like, how has this been for you? Like,
I love it, man. I mean, my life at this point in my life, I want to serve, right? Yeah. And so there's lots of ways we can serve. There's lots of ways we can grow. We can grow physically, emotionally, mentally. But I think one thing we all like leave out is spiritually. Yeah. And so, for me, even, I have a strong faith, but even still I get laxed in my faith. And so if I can use my faith and where I'm at now to encourage others, it's a privilege to me. Yeah. So I really just enjoy that. And not that you're beating people in the head with faith, but whatever spirituality means to someone, you encourage them in that. And just to work on that and becoming, exploring that realm of growth. There is a verse in the Bible that talks about, being fit, physically fit, but it says like, you're physically fit, you train for physical fitness, but how much more should we train for godliness or spirituality? Same thing. And so I think that's so important that, we've spent most of our adult lives training to be physically fit. I think now, especially coming from those experiences of war, it's so important to have meaning in our lives that we should train our minds spiritually as well and in our hearts. Like you said earlier, our minds are deceitful, right? And they trick us and they lie to us. And so the only way to navigate through that realm is to have a strong spiritual base. And so I think it's crucial. One thing you said, to me and then I think reminded all of us this week is just being, thinking about sharing our story. And so not just here, we've all shared our story, which has been great, but also you've encouraged us to do it when we connect with our brothers. And that's so important. And we talked about today that as we share our stories and connect and check in with people, they're often apt to share their story back with us. And that's how we can kind of connect and hear if there is an issue and how we can relate. Because we were trained, especially maybe Navy SEALs are a little bit different, Hollywood and stuff like that. But
we're born this way. Aren't trained at all.
as quiet
America.
As quiet professionals, we've been trained not to share our story and not to talk about it. And at this point in our lives, in our careers, it's so important to share what we're going through. It's not a weakness. I think it's an empowerment to be able to share what's on our heart and share the areas where we need help.
Yeah, you're right, man. Your testimony inspires another testimony. And first trip that I went on, I shared my testimony of just the darkness that you can go through out on the outside. And every guy there turns out was going through the same stuff. Wow. And they shared it before. So they just were like, oh man, you don't have to feel alone because, hey, this, and this, and dude, you're a good dad, and this. And I'm like, oh, so I'm not unique at all. Like, dang, I thought maybe this was always supposed to be, like, no, I'm joking. But like, truly, you're right, man. The testimony shared. And I think it's like what we were talking about, which is, a good friend of mine, says this, and he says, your mind can be a wonderful servant or a horrible master. And when you're thinking, I can't talk about this with my best friends who I went to war with, it's being a horrible master. Yeah. And what it needs to be doing is helping you figure out how to talk about this with your friends and reach out, guys, and talk to your boys. I mean, and to your point earlier, there's guys that I went to war with in my platoon that I have not spoken to since we went to war. And my relationship, I love them. If I saw him today, it'd be just like yesterday, but that's almost 14 years ago. or 13 years ago, 13 and some change. And I love these guys, but life happens. You just hit the ground running, and we don't really look back very often. And when you finally do, you realize like, I should have done this earlier, because you guys and my friends, all of us, we've got answers for each other if we can just open up and share our testimony.
Yeah,
it's hard to do, but the first time I did it, man, it was really hard. And then I realized it's not that hard. Once you do it once, then it's easier. And in a lot of the words that I say affect the other guys. Just like a lot of things you guys say, I come up later, I'm like, man, that really spoke to me. The stuff you said about God last night really spoke to me. I didn't know you were chapping, by the way. We're gonna have a longer conversation after this, man. That's awesome. I have all kinds of questions. That's so cool, dude.
Yeah, I think that's perfect. This is perfect segue. The moment this is gonna lead into another episode down the road where it will be just Damon's journey, but I do want to acknowledge the fact that you're publishing a book. It's almost out there. Like we are counting down before. Yeah, please throw it up.
That's my guy.
and I want to like acknowledge this journey, like just how impactful this could have been earlier on with your transition. Like, because your transition wasn't typical. Like a lot of people think. Like I said before, people think that you. Like it's a Hollywood movie. You go in, you salute for the last time. Like, all right, Sergeant, you're out of here. And it's like, it's not like that at all.
Yeah. When I got out, I mean, I had a lot of invisible wounds that at that time, 2009 timeframe, people just didn't have answers to, TBI, PTSD and things like that. And so I had a strong network of people just to care for me and wrap their arms around me. But there was a lot of things that weren't answered that I just struggled with memory loss and things like that, and frustration and irritability and things like that. But, so that was hard, that was hard. But I think through the last 14 years getting to this point, that's the reason why I wrote the book. It's really just it's my story, but it's a small part of my story. It's not about me. It's not meant to be about me, but I'm sharing a little bit of my story so I can encourage readers, to really think about what is it that you're supposed to do? What have you been called by God to do that you haven't been able to do because you told yourself you couldn't do it, or someone else told you couldn't do it, and you're lacking kind of that motivation and that faith. And there's things along the way. So my story wasn't perfect. I failed, I was humbled. But those are all important lessons for me. And, I think that we can also be on islands, sometimes that we're alone in our failures. But one thing I talk about in the book is our failure is not final. Right. And so, failures are good. I think it can launch us into the next step. But a lot of times there's also a different level of failure because people are afraid to fail. They don't even start. Yeah. So they just sit there. And so I would say the book is probably the hardest thing I've ever done. Just because.
Wait a second. Harder than dive school?
I think it is, man. I think it is. One, just because, I remember going through the E5 board, and some sergeant major, because I had a master's degree. He's like, why do you even want to go to selection, or why do you want to become a Green Beret? I was in the Q course, and I'm like, I want to be a Green Beret. I want to, and he's like, I think it's just because you want to write a book. And I don't remember this guy's name, and I probably shouldn't be saying this, but he was like, if I find out you write a book, I'm going to kill you. I'm going to come back and kill you. He's retired. So, now I have to have eyes in the back of my book and back of my head. But, yeah, it was a privilege to write. I really hope it serves people. It's, it's not about me, but, it's something that I get to do. And I was encouraged through it, and, yeah, I'm excited to share it. I'm really excited to share it. So it should be out this week, available on Amazon, stuff like that. So
yeah, we'll put it in the episode description, and, with my editing skills, there should be a QR code that drops right about now. Scan it and, go buy the book. I always advocate, and I don't always engage in comments. If you've ever shared something of mine on Instagram, you know that I always reply the same way. Salute, crown emoji, gracias primo. But I always engage with people that respond back to any post that I say, share your story. People always say, well, veterans need to shut up. I don't want to hear another story. This is stupid, self-serving. And no, I'm sorry. Politely, no. The reason why all of us are here, and we're hearing so many people say, well, I didn't know that. I didn't hear about that. I didn't know anything about that, is because people aren't sharing their stories. The things that we're going through, it's not unique to us. There's an artilleryman in El Paso, Texas going through it.
Yeah.
There's a young MP in Westminster, Colorado going through it. This is all fictitious stuff. I'm just throwing names out there. There's a guy named Billy Bob in El Paso, Texas, is also going through it. The reality is, by sharing our stories and being vulnerable, sharing the good, the bad, the ugly, the indifferent, we're giving others a glimpse into our experience, our common humanity. It connects all of us. Every veteran has some overlap in what we've experienced, except for the guys that did mail call in Kuwait. Like, you did nothing. And I will always say that. I'm just joking. What I'm saying is, share your story. Yeah. You have no idea how it's going to impact the world. You have no idea how it's going to resonate with somebody. You might be able to influence the next kid that decides to go become an airborne ranger, a paratrooper, a SEAL, a Green Beret. You never know. Your story could have a massive impact in the veteran community. If you're out there and you're listening to this, please, like, if you don't listen to anything else, just remember that your story matters. Being able to share it with other people, if not the world, with your family. Because that's the other component that I realized. So many of us keep everything inside. And then our wives, our kids don't know what's going on.
Yeah, one of the biggest things when I started doing some of this, and I work with podcasters and stuff, and I told my story, was I looked at it as like, well, maybe no one will care, and that's fine, because one day I'll have a grandkid who I'll be able to hear about his Navy SEAL grandfather's experience from my mouth, when I'm not all old and lost my mind. And I'm like, Navy SEALs where, so and I think that's cool. Just get that, get that on paper for them. But also to me, man, it's a continuation of your service. Absolutely. When you share your story with others and it resonates, it doesn't matter if you're a military or a civilian. It's a continuation of us serving our country. And guys, that's who we are. And like, I can't stop helping my brothers. I'd rather help you, and I'd rather help you and anyone else around me than help myself, which can be bad. But I think sharing your story is pretty easy to do. And it can really provide a lot of service to the country and to your fellow, teammates and stuff.
So if we don't share our shared story dies with us. And I think also someone else gets to tell our story for us. And, nobody knows is in our head. And I don't think that's I don't want anyone else telling my story, So
I want my family and friends to hear it from my mouth.
Dude, tell us about your project. Tell us about your podcast. And your chronicles of stories.
It's a newer thing. Mentor of mine that I've known is one of the second longest I've known for 19 years. I'm 34. He's the one that told me about SEAL stuff in high school. I was standing in his garage, just kind of a good friend of mine, mentor. And he's like talking to me all about SEAL stuff. And I'm just like, I'm a basketball player, but I'm 6'2" and I'm never going pro. So, I'm like looking at junior colleges basketball, and I'm just like thinking about my future. I'm like, okay, 2 years of that. Then I go into school and do, I don't know. And then he's telling me about this. It sounds like this great challenge. And I've always had tons of admiration for the military. To be honest with you guys, to you guys' credit, Black Hawk Down. When I watched that when I was a kid, I was like, that is a man's job. Like, that is awesome. That is badass, dude.
Just to clarify, that's Delta Force and Rangers.
Whoops.
But continue.
Yeah, didn't even know. So anyways, y'all look the same. Okay? No, just kidding. Hoot, dude. That's all I'm saying is hoot, man. Hey, you played Navy SEAL too. But anyways, fast forward, later, that was kid stuff. When I'm older, he tells me about this. The next day I'd be, walk to the Navy recruiter's office. Wow. I took a PST. The next day I had a contract, and I was done. That was it. And so we reconnected, and he's an incredible dude. Went to Stanford, went to Yale, paid for his college by working for NASA as a mathematician. Genius dude, like literal genius. Wow. Super cool. Bodybuilder at 72. It's really interesting if you ever see him up close. He's got a nice, good-looking old man head, and then like a yoke jack, freaking insane, freaking like power lifter body down. Like his arms are just like ridiculous. I'm always like touching him, man. And I'm like, how do you do this? But he's such a cool guy, and he's lived such a great life. He started tech companies. He's invented the machines that do the U.S. mail sorting system for us in 17 countries, like endless stories. And so he comes up to me and he's just like, hey, man, I want to inspire others to live a life of adventure and to go after things the way I've gone after things my whole life. And you've done that, Brandon. You've gone a completely irregular route. I graduated high school in 2008, joined the military at 18. I was a Navy SEAL before I could legally buy a beer. I had them trying on my chest at Team 7. I was 20 years old. I turned 21, and 2 weeks later, I went to Afghanistan. So when all my friends are out partying and, sending me videos of like, like, dude, we're finally in the bars. I'm like, okay, I got to hit 3 targets tomorrow. Like, see you later, but I wouldn't change it for the world, man. I had the greatest leadership, the greatest mentors. And so he comes up to me. He's like, I want you to tell your story because you've never told it. And it's time you tell it. And I know what he was doing for him. I didn't realize at the time. And he's like, and I want to help you tell other stories too. And I want to work with you guys. And I love the military. He's military. His kids are military. His son's in Air Space Force. His daughter's Navy. And like their whole family is just big, awesome pro-Americans. So we started this podcast, started with my interview. It's a newer thing, but it's called Blue Steel Adventures. If you guys want to look it up, that's me and Dave Ross. We're up in Seattle. We're going to do some more stuff. This guy's going to help us out. So if you like this show, you'll probably like our show. But, because we've been doing some kind of amateur hour stuff a little bit, but it's been fun. And I realize now, Dave, when we started hanging out again, because I really had no one to hang out with, bro. Like I was up in Seattle and I was doing the shit we talk about. I wasn't talking to no one, going through just nasty divorce, darkness, man, dark times. And he goes, bro, you need to have a little bit of fun. Like, you like to have fun, funny guy, whatever. And I'm like, all right. So we said, come play airsoft with me. And he's like, I think it'll be pretty good. And it is fun, dude. I go and play airsoft and I destroy you nerds, dude. It's fun. And they love it. And we talk and, have a good time. And then it developed into this podcast. And I realize now what he did for me, because for the first time I was able to tell my story from high school to the end of it. And that's what we're trying to do for guys, because it's a therapy, and you get choked up at parts, and he's a really good interviewer. So he asked questions at the right time where it's like, if you could tell your son one day this, what could you say to the guys that didn't make it back? And you're just like, man, you hit the heavy one. Okay. And you're able to, tell your whole story. And yeah, there's a few hours of it online, but we did a dozen hours that I've got the raw footage of. And we're doing that for guys and going around. And I'm realizing, wow, every guy has that same experience, being able to talk about your experience, what you've done that you're so proud of, even though it's causing so much detrimental stuff in your life. I don't sleep. None of us sleep. Like, I don't even know what sleep is, but I chose this path. I don't regret it. I'd do it again in a heartbeat. And I just got to deal with some of that stuff. And I think that therapy of it was just awesome. So yeah, check us out. And we'll be doing some cool stuff. And I'm going to definitely lean on you, brother.
Hell yeah, dude.
Love you, man.
I love you.
Thank you. Brothers don't shake hands. Brothers got a hug.
But it's stuff like this that I miss. Like, and it really shows that we're all the same organization, truly. Yeah. If we were been on the same ODA, like we would have been best of buds, because like we jive, like a person is jive. And even though we didn't get to have that experience of serving together, now we have a better experience. We get to help each other achieve success in this chapter. Yeah. Chapter 2.
Like back then we're winning. And our lives are on the trajectory of like, I guess maybe I'll be the president of the United States of America at some point. I can do whatever the heck I want. All right, maybe the president of the world, who knows? Like you think you're invincible. Dude, now you and I both know, fuck no, or frick no.
You're good, you can cuss, fuck, shit, piss. Come.
But you're not invincible. And I met you the first morning. I came in late. I missed the first day. I missed the flag. I meet you. We go on our hike up the hill. I come down, and you and I are working on a year-long plan for me for my next life. I've talked and shared all the stuff going on in my life, and it's that instant bond. And you're right, dude. I wish I would have served with you guys. I really do, because it would have been freaking fun. You guys are awesome. But I love meeting you guys now, because now we're like, we would have won then, because we really didn't lose very often. Yeah. But we're going to win now for ourselves, our family, our community, our country still, dude. So,
It's a rarity to meet. Like, I was thinking about this today. There's like 20 of us or whatever. But, if you think about it, how many times you met an NFL player, right, in your life? How many times remove yourself from the military, but prior to the military and after the military, how many do you walk down the street and like, oh yeah, what do you do for a living? Well, I'm a Navy SEAL, or I'm a Green Beret. Mm-hmm. So it's a rarity to meet people that have gone through our experiences, but to be able to just chop it up and meet new people within this realm is incredible. It's an incredible opportunity. And I love
Absolutely,
it.
Man. Like you walk in and you meet Donnie Edwards, pearly, beautiful white teeth, 8 feet tall.
Oh my
and you're
God,
like,
made one of these? There better only be one.
He's just the sweetest man.
He's so nice.
You look at his eyes, and it's like the first time you heard the Beatles. It's just wonderful. Yeah. But like, you see this person that you think is larger than life, and then you sit down and you're talking, and you're like, I came from fucking dirt, bottom of the barrel. And he's like, yeah, dude, same here, man.
Yeah, 11 siblings, bro. I was in hell.
We didn't have shit.
What?
It's like, dude, like that common bond. And it's not just trauma bonding. And you're able to say like, yeah, man, I worked so hard to get to where I'm at. Went to college, I did this. And it's like, yeah, dude, like I couldn't made it if I didn't go in the military and then go to the 82nd and go to selection and try to get to that next level. It's like, yeah. And then when it was over for me, fucking felt alone, felt betrayed, felt like nobody's there. It's like, holy fucking shit, that's what I felt like.
Yeah.
And it's like, and then you realize that it's because we've been at these high performance levels.
That trajectory.
Yeah.
Can't be stopped. I'm invincible.
And then like, and the importance of protecting that brand.
Yeah. Right.
Like,
right. Oh, dude.
When it's your turn to go, hey, dog, I don't care what's wrong with you. Just go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, and it's the most horrible thing. Like, I'm watching your friends go through it. You're like, oh man, that sucks. I hate seeing my buddy fall off to the friggin' wayside and nobody's there going through a med board process and nobody's talking to him. This is bullshit. He deserves to have support. And then it's you. Yeah. Then you're going through it. And then you're like, oh fuck, this really does suck.
Yeah. Yeah. Dude, I don't know how you get ready for transition, but I was not ready, man. I was not ready. And I think that part of it is, you're told as you're leaving, all right, man, combat Navy SEAL, 400 combat operations. You guys have more than that. You're told, dude, you can do anything. That's not what I wanted to hear, because then I'm like, okay, I do anything. What the fuck am I supposed to do? And then you realize maybe I can't do anything. Maybe I'm the one exception to the rule of everyone that with this background could just go do whatever they want. And I really don't want to do anything but be a gunslinger, man. Like, I just want to go back to that world. And I got out to have kids and a family, and I absolutely regretted it, and I don't regret it because I do have my kids. But dude, yeah, it's like you are told everything's going to be just fine, and then you find out everything is just fucked.
Yeah,
it's just fucked.
There's a conveyor system bringing you in, meaning everything. You're going to go through all this process to be the very best soft professional. But on the backside, it's a slap in the ass and get the fuck out.
It's a fall off the cliff.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah, in the civilian world, man, it's a little different than there's military. It's a lot different than the special forces community, in the soft.
Yeah.
So, but this kind of stuff, these kind of organizations, man, they make it better, because the reality, the thing that I've really loved to see is for those of you who are out there that have a little bit of money or have a cabin or resources, you could save lives because, like you were saying, to be here, to be able to hang out with NFL players, be in a property like this. I was just telling the guys last night, we were all talking. It's like, guys, I'm so glad I was a Navy SEAL. Yeah. Like, and I hope one day I can make enough money to give this opportunity for my kids, because I'm so blessed to have these chances just because, and we have those because of what we did. Yeah. And it's, we're lucky. We're really lucky. So even all the stuff that's hard, I'm not complaining, man. I wouldn't change it for the world. And I can't believe the experiences and opportunities I've had, but it took a guy like Mike saying, you can use my house. It took a guy like Donnie, and talking to the other guys he's working with and saying, what can we do about this? Yeah. Those fireside chats that you were talking about. And then the guy Mike shows up. He's like, well, you can use my property. And then, okay, well, then this, and you start piecing it together. And pretty soon you got guys out here who are opening up about being suicidal, and they're saying, I just want you guys to know when I go home, I'm not going to be that way, and you had no idea. So it takes the community of America and us coming together, working together to figure these problems out, because the military is just not getting it done.
Yeah, and again, we have to acknowledge Mike. Like, you don't get this without somebody that's willing to put money down and build. There was nothing here. There was literally nothing on the top of this mountain. And Mike doesn't know any of it. He didn't know any soft professionals. He just had one chance encounter, and it's like, you know what? No, this is happening. I am building this for veterans, soft professionals. Like, seeing him speak about it was like, dude, like, you instantly feel like, holy shit, like,
he humbles you.
Yeah.
Because he is thanking you while giving you the experience of your life. And he genuinely is just happy to do it for us. And
go ahead, Demo.
No, I was going to say, one of the most amazing things that I saw this week was yesterday we watched the Normandy video, and I was in tears, but Donnie was there. Yeah. He's seen that video before, but just reliving it for probably the 100th time, seeing that video again, he was in tears. Right. And so that just speaks of that compassion. Yeah. That compassion and that thankfulness for that service is amazing.
Guys, please, like, even if you have to pause that's like go look up Best Defense Foundation to go see the Normandy video, do it. Pause it. Come back to this and watch what Donnie's done with Best Defense Foundation.
You won't regret it.
Yeah. There's an 8-minute video in there about it. And, I don't know if you knew you had grandfathers that served in World War II. But Dad makes it worth it enough to go watch this. And I thought about my grandfathers, and I'm getting chills right now talking about it. Yeah. And what Donnie does. And so, again, if you think you could help, you might really enjoy helping out. It's like you said, man, 100 times, and he was crying again. And it's powerful for everyone. I think everyone gets a little bit of a win out of it.
Yeah.
That's what Mike says. Mike says he's happy. He's just glad this is happening. Yeah. And we're like, well, so are we.
Dude, find somebody that just simply wants to just like, I'm going to take my money and put it in my mouth and build something to support our SOP professionals, to build a place for veterans to get away, to just relax and be at peace and have access to the doctors with insight to what you're dealing with. Because I don't know if you've dealt with the VA, but let me tell you right now, it is not worth it. It's not cash money, as the kids would say.
Yeah. And if you're a veteran out there and you think, well, I don't have that opportunity, you need to get online and Google it. There are places like this for pretty much all of us. And you just got to find that nonprofit, get plugged in, and go out to one of these retreats, especially if you're going through a hard time. Seek out your friends, seek out some of these nonprofits. They're here to help. And some of them have a lot of resources available. Some of them don't. Some of them are longer waitlisted, but you'd be shocked. There's 45,000 nonprofits that support veterans in this country, and they're out there.
I don't think we just received. We received a lot, right? We did receive a lot, but what I'm taking away is that we're all like leaving with something, and we're going to give back, and we're going to serve ourselves. Yeah. And so that's beautiful. So we did receive, but I think we entered at one level, we're leaving at a higher level, and we're going to give back as well. Mm-hmm. So it's exciting.
Yeah. I mean, I hope one day, and I know guys are already doing this. Some of the guys that are in our era are starting, I'm 34, we're up in our 30s, 40s. We're starting to make a little bit of money. They're starting to do this too. Yeah. But it's great to see civilians and other people stepping up, America stepping up, because we're good. Like you said, this is going to be solved. It's going to be solved by us because we don't have any fucking quit inside of our bodies. But, there's not a lot of billionaire, guys out there like us yet. And just really all they do is facilitate. They bring us together, and then they let us heal together.
Yeah. It's so true, man. And I want to devote a little bit of time for us to talk about some of the pro tips, like I like to say. From this experience alone, I've gained a lot of insight, dude. I always advocate for every resource and every single thing, but some of the main takeaways that we've all received, if you guys just want to share 3 or 4, even like hell, however many takeaways you want to give back and share with the audience from this experience.
Gosh, there's so many. As I start to think, if you've got one, go for it.
Yeah. One of the things I was just encouraged by was just the thought that having, a mentor, and then having a mentee, right? Mm-hmm. And then having a peer. So for me, I've always been, if I didn't have those 3 relationships, I've always been felt unbalanced. Unbalance can lead to you spiraling down the tube. And so, just being mentored at all times for that growth that we've talked about. But then if you're just filling your own cup all the time, then you're going to get puffed up and proud and things like that. But I think as our cup's filled, we give it back to other people. And then we need someone that we can just chit chat with and really challenge us and have some accountability, mm-hmm. and give permission to ask us those hard questions so we can get better.
Yeah. I'd say the biggest thing, and I think this applies to anyone listening, doesn't matter who you are, is community. Do you have it? Because if you don't, it's going to be tough. And I don't have a lot of that in Seattle, as you know. And I'm really seeing the value of just having community, especially with people who do similar stuff to you. Like, we can bond, and there's an endless amount of knowledge and wisdom, teaching my kids how to pray. Chavo gave me a lot of advice on that. Fatherhood stuff. I've got a whole bunch, like a bag of fatherhood stuff that I'm going to go home and try just to make things more fun for my kids. Teaching my kid math. We were talking about teaching my kid math with one of the other guys earlier. And he's like, okay, this is what I did to how to do it, to work on it with my kid. Like, having a community is so important. And if you don't have one, it's because you're not putting in the effort to be a part of one. Go to a church, talk to people. I know it's awkward. I personally probably couldn't do that, honestly. I'm just really quiet in church, and, but in these places, I create that community. I have some community. I have some brothers, brotherhood, sisterhood, La Familia. And I think that is what those people saw.
Yeah.
They saw the camaraderie and they saw brotherhood, community, love, and it's just a rare thing.
Yeah, it's genuine.
And, I think that it's what we have that's special. It's probably why a lot of you guys think we're cool. Why you see us and they're like, man, look at these guys. They're on top of the world. Their energy and their confidence, my energy, my love, all those things. It comes from my knowledge, how I carry myself as a man. It comes from the community that I've been a part of. And it's so easy to step back from these communities and then just put your head down and march through life. And so what I've really taken away, the main thing is focus on maintaining that community, Brandon. Like I'm telling myself that in my mind, and be aware of how you're thinking, like what the doctor said today about how you got to stop and assess if what you're thinking about in this moment, when you're stressed, whatever it is this serving you? Or is your mind in control? Is your mind being the master, or are you or is it being a servant and you're the master? And so, I noticed that and I was thinking about that last night. I was thinking about stressful things and I just kept thinking about it because sometimes it's enjoyable to think about your problems, but you got to break that mental stuff up. So, so be aware. Don't give yourself hate, and if you don't believe it, start lying to yourself. Start going in the mirror in the morning and telling yourself you love yourself, whatever it takes. Get your mind out of that. Yeah. And, she said, go outside, go on a run. And she's like, just change your environment. And if you don't run, that's fine. Just go outside and stand in the weather and see how long that bad thought lasts, because it's going to last a lot longer on the couch. So I think clarity of mind and maintenance of a community. And I got to put more effort in maintaining that community.
Yeah.
So that's those are two big takeaways for me this week.
Just one more that from today was we were talking about suicide. And as we talked about suicide, some of the questions were like, well, I don't know what to say. I'm not a professional. And how do I handle this? And it's a scary thing. If I mess up and I say the wrong thing, then maybe it's literally, it's a life lesson, right? Someone dies because I said the wrong thing. And one of the things that we came across that was a solution was we're not that important, right? It doesn't depend on me. But I think just being available to listen and allow people to tell their story, because I think sometimes internally people have not told their story. They haven't even thought through their whole story. All they can see is the bad stuff. So just showing up, listening, being present. And as they share their story, sometimes they'll solve their own problems and realize like, hey, you know what? I am important. You know what? I do have things to live for. And they rationalize that way and they kind of pull themselves out of that ditch.
No, and I got one more too. And you are the one I think that gave me this, cutting anchors, get rid of the people, the relationships and the things in your life that are no longer serving you. And I think that's so important because I think about how a lot of those lies that we believe about ourselves are in, are people, sometimes in my case, my ex-wife holding a mirror right to my face, like, look at the worst of you, you're horrible or horrible. And then I can come here and remind them like, I'm not horrible.
Yeah.
I'm actually a good guy, but I'm going through hell. And when you surround yourself around only people that are making your life difficult, and if you don't have anyone encouraging you and just maybe listening to what's going on, it may be bad, but they're just not judging you, then think about surrounding yourself with some other people. And so I think for me, it's cutting anchors. Do it, stop. If I get stressed out, don't go get a drink, go on a run, stop, engaging in the practices that are not serving me, and focus on engaging in the practices that are serving me. Fitness, talking, doing podcasts, engaging in my community, clarity of mind, mentalness, breathing. I mean, ice baths. Gosh, we've learned so much out here. But I'm going to focus on engaging in the things that are serving me. And it's very clear the things that are not serving me, but those are usually the things that we want to engage in. Drinking and, smoking weed or drugs or whatever you're into. And
nightlife,
chasing
random girls.
And also, sometimes it's chasing an ex-wife who's not good for you, or chasing an ex-girlfriend, or trying to make a relationship work that it's just not serving you. You're running out of money. You're not focused on your career. You're not doing anything. And sometimes those people, your brothers, your sisters, your parents, your blood, you got to help yourself. I'm learning that I need to be right before I can help others. I got to help myself before I can go back to these relationships maybe and be more present in them. So, we talk about our year plan. There's going to be some people that I'm close to that are just going to be nixed out of my life for a year. And in a year, I might contact them again, but I'm going to focus on being in a really good place before I engage with these people, because I can't abandon blood, but there are certain people who are not serving me at all, really dragging me down. And I don't need to be reminded of my failures. I need to be focused on my future. So,
You can fast in life, not just for nutrition, like doing intermittent fasting, but fasting from the things that probably aren't serving you for right now.
Yeah.
Like that you really don't need. Like it's okay to have boundaries with individuals that aren't doing so good. It's okay to have boundaries with family members that you love, but you need to set that hard line. Like, hey, you want to be part of my life? This is how you can be a part of my life.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and you can revisit it. You don't have to cut people off completely, but you do have to find that healthy way to set a boundary with somebody that's a habitual line stepper. And and there's nothing wrong with that.
Right.
Like, I want to, like, last couple things I will share is the importance of common humanity, like understanding that you're not alone in this experience. You're not alone in this suffering. And when you realize that, you can say like, wow, okay, I'm not alone in this experience. This problematic experience will dissipate. I will win. I will succeed again. Our creed says it.
Yep.
Live to succeed again.
Yep.
Like that's one of the most important things that I found when I was struggling, and I'm looking and searching for meaning in everything from Viktor Frankl to like finding it in our own Green Beret creed, because you don't lose that beret. You don't lose that long tab. Like it's still part of you. So look to that creed that says like, I will live to succeed again.
Yeah.
I will live to be able to stand up proud and say, you know what? I did it. You just have to take a breath and give yourself some grace and realize, hey, I might not be where I want to be today, but tomorrow's a new day and I will continue to move forward to where I want to be.
Beautiful.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. You know, and if you don't have a creed, pick one.
Yeah.
You want to change your life, change your mind. You can do it right now. And if you're not a Green Beret, read the Green Beret creed. See how it speaks to you. Read the Bible. There's a ton of good stuff in the Bible.
Yeah.
But if you're like, well, I don't have anything, I don't believe in anything, then figure out something to believe in. Yeah. And maybe surround yourself around people who believe in a lot, and you might get inspired.
Yep.
Contact one of us. I'm around. Contact me. Reach out. I'd love to talk.
Hit us up. Direct message on Blue Steel Adventures. Dave Ross can communicate with you. I suck on computers.
You can find me on LinkedIn, Denny Caballero, or setcultpodcast@gmail.com. I will always check my messages. Hit us up on Instagram, on YouTube, or go to the website at securityhall.com and message us out there. I always check the inbox there. In fact, what's up, Larry? I haven't talked to you in a minute. I know the coffee fair in Columbia is doing well. I'm proud of you for continuing to live your best life. So shout out to a great, awesome brother who hits me up on the website. And now it's like, I look forward to those messages coming through. So if you need somebody, hit us up, LinkedIn, or Damona, how can we get a hold of you?
At the thebinbo, thebinbo.com, or Instagram, anything, or LinkedIn at the binbo.
Hey, one more thing. I will throw this out there, guys. My Instagram handle, I'm pretty new to all of it. You're gonna see my Instagram. It's a bunch of photos of guys with blacked out faces at me, like hi. But direct message me, man. And if you don't need, if anything I said spoke to you, I want to know about it. And even if it's like, wow, I've gone through a similar experience and I've also healed in that way, I want to hear that. I want to know your story too. So sit me up. It's B Andrews 277. I was Buzz Class 277.
Nice.
So B Andrews 277 on Instagram. Hit me up if you want to hit me up directly, or check out Blue Steel Adventures and buy this guy's book, because I'm pretty pumped to freaking read it. I'm excited.
I hope it serves you. I really do.
And one last time, again, if you want to know more about Best Defense Foundation, just look here. Again, I want to do that awesome thing. It's going to pop right there. Go to the website, check it out, figure out how you can get involved. If you're a professional in the medical field, if you're a powerful veteran advocate, get involved. Hit them up. Again, thank you for being here. Thank you for tuning in, and I will see you all next time. Till then, take care. If you like what we're doing and you're enjoying the show, don't forget to share us, like us, subscribe, and head on over to our Patreon, where you can be part of our community and get access to all of our episodes as soon as they drop. And remember, we get through this together. Take care.